It's wild card blankers. I can't finish that sentence. Watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia or watch football this weekend like Chargers and Texans. Now, in the wild card preview, we're going to go through each team like I normally do, Bloom. We could stretch this thing out. It's not week 18 with a bunch of bad games. Although this game might not be great, Bob, because the Texans are the ones seen as like the pushovers. The Chargers are the ones seen like, hey, they could win it all. Like there are a few teams. We'll talk about Tampa Bay, talk about the Rams, right? There's a few teams that maybe people aren't normally thinking of.
Right.
Buffalo, Detroit, yeah, but think about the teams that could win it all. The Chargers are 1000% and maybe at the top of that list. So going to Houston, I believe they're the favorite. At least they
Yeah.
should be. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of chalk this week. One upset we'll get to.
Ooh.
But the Chargers, I don't consider this an upset, even though they're the road team.
Yeah, this is the spread's 2.5 for the Chargers. So you got a road favorite here. And some people might say, oh, watch out. But see, I always like to start with quarterback and head coach. Quarterback and head coach. Let's look at this as a quarterback matchup and a head coach matchup. Let's do this for every game. Jim Harbaugh versus D'Amico Ryans. No disrespect to D'Amico Ryans, but of course the lens is always experience, playoff experience, right? CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert. So experience, playoff experience on the Chargers side, momentum on the Chargers side. The Texans we look at as a pretender. They backed into the playoffs because of the division they're in. And as you talked about, Cease, the Chargers, unless the Steelers or the Broncos pull off the biggest upset of the weekend, the Chargers would then be going to Kansas City, where they play Kansas City straight up like a lot of other teams. So the Steelers swoon that allowed the Chargers to get to the number 5 seed could be that stumbling block. And then if they can go into Arrowhead and defeat that black magic and defeat the Chiefs, then Jim Harbaugh has his own magic. He has his white magic, to the black magic of the Arrowhead Stadium, Mahomes Chiefs. So yeah, if they can just don't stumble on this game, how could they stumble on this game? Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. That's the one X factor. The pass rush for the Texans could create some splash plays, because I think you're going to see the Texans go, as they've been going all year, hyper conservative with Joe Mixon, keep the game close. Joe Mixon probably touches the ball 25 or 28 times. Nico Collins should be a star this weekend. This should be a nice national stage for him. But also, it's a stage for J.K. Dobbins. It's a stage for Ladd McConkey. A lot of people are going to be introduced to his game. And then, of course, there's the Deontay Johnson factor. But I don't think that's the other thing is, who is it? Dalton Schultz, Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson. John Mechie has a shoulder injury, so we'll see about that. But you look at this one on paper again, you don't have to go much farther than the head coach quarterback matchup here, which greatly favors the Chargers. And then, depending on what happens, they could be the ones to have a chance to get someone else in the Super Bowl on the AFC side.
Yeah, on the Texans side, it's like just run Joe Mixon down their throat.
Yeah,
I
that's it.
guess try to
Yeah.
match them and that energy, and make sure Herbert doesn't beat you, because Herbert can obviously beat you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, like the Chargers defense is going to be energetic. The Chargers defense, there's a lot of experience on this coaching staff, and how inventive. We haven't seen CJ Stroud take that next step. We haven't seen CJ Stroud elevating this offense. We haven't seen CJ Stroud showing that he's evolving and learning in his second year. So now he did. Remember, they did the other thing. If you want to have some hope for the Texans, is the Joe Flacco, very experienced quarterback. Browns faced the Texans in the playoffs in the first round last year, and the Texans smoked them. I think the score was like 45-14 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. So in a similar situation last year, the Texans greatly overperformed. It's a little bit different, though. Joe Flacco, Justin Herbert, a little different.
A little bit different, that's for sure. Steelers, Ravens. Oh boy, Steelers side, and just having to listen to Russell Wilson with Cam, and just being like, let's go win the next 4. You're not going to win the next 4, Russ. You're not real good, Russ. And in fact, I've been saying on the Denver airwaves, they got to play Justin Fields.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they started him. Tomlin's not going to do that. This whole affinity for Russell Wilson, I have no idea. The allegiance. I mean, we could make the argument. It's the Steelers show, Bloom.
Right.
If Fields was the starter the whole year, the record would be the damn same. It'd be the damn same. And like Fields, you'd be able to learn more. Like, is he really the guy? Is there anything there? Because he was 3-0 against playoff teams. Russell Wilson 0-3 against playoff teams. Like, all right, man. I don't know what the Steelers are doing except going to Baltimore and getting beat.
Yeah, I think that the phrase Arthur Smith used was "burn the boats." Huh? You're making up some new phrases. We're gonna burn the boats. Justin Fields. We should see more Justin Fields. Let's throw some Cordell Patterson. Deception. I mean, the Steelers are a team that has to come in as the big underdog they are, feeling like we need to take chances. We need to have some deception. We need to show the Ravens things that they haven't seen on tape this year. That's just not the Steelers' personality, though. You know, it's like Napoleon Dynamite, but he didn't actually practice the dance. He's going up at the dance to see, I'm cool and I can dance, but they can't actually dance. Okay. So, yeah. But ideally, what you want to do, go for it on fourth down, even if you're your own 30. You know, take chances, grind out long drives, keep Lamar Jackson on the sidelines. The Steelers' defense had been doing a good job against Lamar Jackson until the last matchup. And that's the thing. The Steelers-Ravens games are usually these street fights, even if the Steelers are starting Duck Hodges or someone at quarterback. So, okay, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. But the Steelers, they're fading. You know, the Steelers, it's like horse racing, right? Like you're looking at, well, how does this horse perform in a mile or a mile and a furlong or whatever? The Steelers are like a 3/4 mile race horse, and we're at the mile mark. They ran out of gas already. And so, and other things, more Jalen Warren, less Najee Harris, if they're going to win, if they have a chance to win.
Sure, right.
And you know, and Pat Fryermuth has come on in this second half of the season, but you know, this feels like same as it ever was. Time is a flat circle with the Steelers. A winning season, a team that is not an embarrassment, but a team that can't do anything in the postseason.
Yeah, and then the Ravens without Zay Flowers. Week 18 sucks, man.
Yeah,
Sorry, back on my week 18 everything sucks rant, but like Zay Flowers got hurt in that. Zay Flowers is a key piece to how far Baltimore can. They're going to win this game. Okay, I feel like Elvis. We're going to win this race.
no,
They're going to win this game, but how far they go depends on the health of Zay Flowers. He's not going to play in this game, so expect more Isaiah Likely, more Rashad Bateman, plenty of Mark Andrews. Sure.
yeah, that's the thing. They have the weapons. Is Elvis's 90th birthday? I think it was. If it's not today, it was like this week. Elvis's 90th birthday. So it's a great documentary. I think it's called The Pretender. Great documentary about Elvis. Anyway, there's more there than you think. There's more there than you think in this passing game. Without Zay Flowers, I think they're fine. Isaiah Likely, don't forget him. Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. Hey, they're going to be fine. Maybe even some Tylan Wallace going into free agency and what he can do. Not Deontay Johnson. You know, let's find Deontay Johnson. Not in this game. They didn't need him. Maybe even Nelson Aguilar could get back. And there's a lot of Derrick Henry. And again, we saw the Steelers defense not really have an answer for Baltimore. They're going to have to play a flawless game on offense, and they're going to have to make some stops. They have been able to make stops against Lamar Jackson in the past in big moments, in big games. We'll see. You know, now you might look at this one and the spread's like 8.5. So the Steelers, can they keep it closer than that? Maybe, but the last time these two teams played just a few weeks ago with a lot on the line, it did not look like they could do that.
Yeah. We'll see. It's not great, Bob. Sunday we kick things off, and I will be there in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Beautiful Buffalo.
You got one of those coats with the fur around the hood or something?
I got the fur around the collar.
Okay.
So I'll probably wear that one. But like, yeah, gonna be cold, no snow, NFLweather.com. So we'll see. At least I hope not. Got travel plans. Get into Buffalo is difficult
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But anyway, Broncos, Bills. And I think the Broncos can pull the upset. Now, a couple things have to happen. One, this is Sean Payton versus Sean McDermott. I know where my chips are. Two, it's Josh Allen versus Bo Nix. I know where your chip should be.
Yeah.
Everyone does because it's an MVP. But I look at this and I go, okay, can you make them tight? And not because they beat them last year. Last year, after the Broncos beat the Bills on Monday Night Football, Ken Dorsey got fired.
Right.
And Josh Allen went into a deep depression, one that the team had to manage this offseason, kind of get his head out of the funk. You got a good woman in his life. You stop running around partying all the time. Why is Josh Allen better this year? It's not because of Stephon Diggs. It's because he's keeping things focused. Let's just say that, Bloom.
Yeah.
You know the stories. We all know the stories, but it's like, okay, why is Josh Allen so damn good? He doesn't get sacked. That offensive line is fantastic, and he doesn't throw picks. I'm talking about the Bills side. I need to talk about the Broncos side. I think Marvin Mims is an X
Yep.
factor here in the cold, any sort of field flipping play. And can they go blow to blow in terms of not a shootout, but just any sort of kick, either a field goal or a punt from the Bills is a win for
Right.
that Broncos defense, which can get after the quarterback with, I believe, 63 sacks this year, a team
Yep.
record. There you go.
Yeah, I think on the Broncos side, Bo Nix, welcome to the playoffs. But pretty experienced for a rookie quarterback. He's not a rookie anymore. Getting Marvin Mims involved, you know that Cortland Sutton can win on his one-on-one matchups, keep the chains moving. I think ideally you're just going to abandon the run game. Honestly, I mean maybe 15 running back carries.
They
There's
already
no,
do that anyway.
yeah, exactly. Like you're going to stick with that. And they did beat this team last year. I mean, that is important. That is important. Like you said, so
In
much so.
Buffalo.
Yeah, so much so that there was a coach fired. And now they're not going to get a coach fired. Buffalo's defense is playing well, maybe playing a little above their heads, but the Broncos do have some X factors. And see, like you said, I think this is one of those games where the longer the Bills look up at the scoreboard and see that it's only a one score deficit, letting the Broncos hang around, the fans are going to get tight. Josh Allen can get tight. This is one of those games where maybe it would be even a little better for Buffalo to be on a neutral site because they're not supposed to lose yet. They're not supposed to be given a test yet. But Bo Nix and Sean Payton on the offensive side can do that. And then, like you said, on the defensive side, Vance Joseph can do that too.
Yeah, and it's dirty bunch formations for the Bills. Super simple, but they run it to perfection. So, and Amari Cooper had some personal stuff. Looks like he should play, but he really hasn't done much with Buffalo. So on that bunch side, they're going to go 4-by-1, essentially a bunch of three receivers on the right, and then a back, usually to the right of Josh Allen. They're going to run Khalil Shakir to the sticks. Someone's going to be in motion, and that motion guy, if it's Shakir, runs to the sticks. They do it almost every time, and he's open almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like Shakir versus Jaquan McMillan, because Pat Surtain is going to shut down whoever, but yeah, just avoid Pat Surtain, run dirty bunch. You're good to go. James Cook, who fumbled in that game last year, and then the Bills kind of refused to give him the ball again. Like any sort of turnover here, like Buffalo and Detroit, I feel the same way. There's one I have more confidence in terms of like, enough, buddy, enough. I'm sick of talking about the Bills. Like, get there.
Yeah.
Get there. You've been good enough to get there for 5 years. You haven't even sniffed it. You haven't even gotten there to lose. So get there. I feel a Detroit Buffalo Super Bowl is what we're all looking at, Bloom. But Buffalo's got to get there. I trust Dan Campbell. I don't trust Sean McDermott.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I trust Joe Brady, and see some analysis. We're going to go over 20 minutes in the show. Sorry, I saw some analysis that the numbers are the same. But is the offense really better with Joe Brady? I think the thing you have to focus on is Josh Allen is so much more relaxed in this offense. It doesn't seem like he has to pull a rabbit out of the hat or be Superman every week for them to win. He just has to execute.
Yep.
That's the big difference. The numbers might be the same. The efficiency, the points per game, that stuff might be the same. But Josh Allen doesn't have to press to make things happen. Some of the stuff you said sees like deception. And the one thing Amari Cooper is going to accomplish is in a chess game, if you're trading Amari Cooper for Patrick Surtain, you're happy with that if you're the Bills.
Sure.
Oh, that's fine. Oh boy, we can't throw downfield to Amari Cooper. Oh no, what will we do? What we'll do is, and see, you always chronicle this. Here are the names I think that are going to drive Broncos fans crazy whenever the Bills have the ball. Dalton, Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Ty Johnson, maybe Ray Davis. Covering these guys out of these plays is going to be difficult. So, and then like you said, Khalil Shakir on those big third downs. And we'll see. Vance Joseph, he has had some success. He's a head coach name against these, and I didn't even realize this until I was poking around. He's a New Orleans guy. He was
Mhm.
actually starting guard on a state championship basketball team and the quarterback for a state championship football team
Mhm.
down here in Marrero in Jefferson Parish, Carlos Marcello territory. Anyway, so Vance Joseph, and you have some names, maybe some names that aren't known on a national stage. That Nick Bonito, you know, I'm not saying that Nick Bonito really deserves Defensive Player of the Year consideration, but he's on a career trajectory where he may sneak into that conversation soon.
They had 2 guys, and Surtain's gonna win it, by the way. But they have 2 players on that defense were DPOY considerations.
Yeah, and that
Surtain and Benito
yeah, we're not even talking about Jonathan Cooper, who's
or Zach Allen.
yeah, and Zach Allen, right? A lot of underrated players. So the underexposed Broncos defense, maybe that's the key for Vance Joseph is get these guys fired up. They're going to know our names after this one.
What's the key for the Packers? Is it really Jordan Love's elbow? And, like, I was talking to a Packers fan, like, "We don't have Christian Watson." I'm like, "You've never had Christian Watson, right?" Like, "Oh my god, what are they gonna do without Christian Watson?" "Oh, just everything they've done without him already, because he's hurt all the damn time, and we want everyone to stay healthy." But it's like, and then the Love thing, from what I know, Bloom, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
like, it's a kind of a funny bone issue,
right, right.
not really like any sort of, like, total serious injury. It's like, kind of a funny bone contusion, I don't know, but is it as simple as Jordan Love just sling it, do whatever? We'll get to the Eagles side for sure. But
Right.
Packers Eagles seems like Eagles kind of easy.
Yeah, and I hate to bring up betting in Vegas again, but this one, only 4.5 point spread, which is a little bit surprising because I will say this: is Christian Watson, the numbers when Christian Watson's on the field, just stretching the field both horizontally and vertically with his speed. I do think it's something they're going to miss because you go down to Dontavian Wicks, and if Christian Watson has a step and the ball's in the air on a deep ball, you're like, oh gosh, oh boy. But if it's Dontavian Wicks, you're like, well, let's see what's going to happen. Troy Williamson, Devery Henderson kind of threat
Mhm.
downfield. You need to beat the Eagles. You need every one of these plays to come through. This game actually opened the season 34-29, a pretty good back and forth game. But again, if we're going to look at this in terms of experience, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Now, Matt LaFleur has some experience coaching, as does Nick Sirianni deep into the playoffs. But Jordan Love, and see, the question that's plaguing the Packers is you pay Jordan Love, but he's plateaued in his development. In fact, we saw in games where they had to ask Jordan Love to do more, he was as likely to throw interceptions as he was to throw touchdowns. That's a problem. So I think what they're going to want to do is hope that they can keep this a low scoring game and a lot of Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, who played pretty well. The running game to set up the pass. And we'll see Tucker Kraft maybe making a splash play, but it has to be Jordan Love executing. And how many games this year have we said they won because of Jordan Love? And if we're talking about them winning this game, and also Vic Fangio, by the way, how much is Vic Fangio looking forward to making a game plan to frustrate and fluster Jordan Love with the players that he has? So, yeah, a lot of coaching experience on the defensive side, not a lot of experience of postseason success in this Packers offense. So, it's a tall task.
On the offensive side for the Eagles, we'll assume Jalen Hurts is going to go.
Right.
We're recording this Thursday morning, full disclosure. He is still in the concussion protocol as of the reports yesterday. We're going to assume he's going to be fine. And then, of course, Saquon Barkley. Just give the ball to Barkley and you'll be good. Hertz and company should be able to take care of business at home.
Yeah, that's the thing is you got Saquon Barkley, and you've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, who was back in Week 18.
Yes.
Now, Green Bay's defense has evolved as the season has gone on. The usage of players, the execution. Remember, they've got Xavier McKinney. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate for a while. So, they have some players, Rashawn Gary. They have some guys who can make splash plays on defense. They have some guys. Now, this is an Eagles offense that is tough to force into turnovers. This is, it's a tall task, but if it's going to happen for Green Bay, it's going to be because of the defense, or perhaps, and you have this on both sides because the Packers, I don't like the subterfuge. Like they didn't let the media once the throwing part of the practice came in. Oh, is Jordan Love throwing or not? Like, why are we keeping this a secret? But with Jalen Hurts, if he's still in concussion protocol this long, what are we talking about? Like 3 weeks after, that's not great, Bob. That's one of those things that, you know, this is the side of football that goes back to the 70s or 80s. I saw the old NFL Today opening from the 70s where it's like how many of these plays would get players like fined and suspended for 3 games. And those were the plays they were using to promote the NFL. But it's like, hey, if you're the Packers, I hate to say this, but a 15-yard penalty, but a chance to knock Jalen Hurts out of the game with a late hit. I mean that's real football. That's
That's
if
what they do anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, if the Packers are going to win, that's probably how it goes. Or maybe Kenny Pickett leads Pickett's charge. But I hope not because we want to see all these teams at full strength going forward in the playoffs.
We want to see Commanders Buccaneers. I'll be driving to Cleveland. I don't know how happy I'll be, depending on the Broncos outcome. But as I drive to Cleveland and I listen to this game, I just can't help but imagine Jaden Daniels
Right.
out there doing his thing, man. But it's Baker doing his thing on the other side. Washington side first. Okay. But Jaden Daniels in the playoffs, get ready for this because I just hope this is an annual occurrence.
Right.
I hope that one day Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels meet in the Super Bowl. I think that'd be awesome because of the way those young quarterbacks have played. But man alive, Jaden, he can just do anything. He can
Right.
do anything. Was it Terry McLaurin? No, it was a Marcus Mariota.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he was down? He was kind of winded. He didn't tap out.
Right.
Yes, that's a slight at Anthony Richardson, who's not good at football. Jaden Daniels, when Mariota's like, dude, take a deep breath. You can do anything. He literally can,
Yeah.
Sigmund.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
can do anything. And we get to watch it in the playoffs.
Yeah. And this is again now quarterback experience. You normally say, well, Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback in his first season start. Yeah, good luck. But he's got some magic. He's got that aura.
Ooh, yes.
And you know, Cease, I feel remiss if we don't talk about how it's history repeating itself, because we had a very similar situation with Robert Griffin III in his rookie year, and then he was playing, and they were smoking the Legion of Boom, smoking them, and then he got hurt, and they kept him in the game, and well, the rest is history. So we hope we don't see that kind of history repeat, but we do have that rookie quarterback with that aura, and that's what they have to rely on. Honestly, they don't have much of a running game. I think if they're going to win this game, you have to see more Austin Eckler, who is back. You have to see more, and Austin Eckler looked good this year. Let's not forget,
Yep.
it didn't make big fantasy headlines because he didn't have that many big fantasy games, but he looks like Austin Eckler that we really loved in fantasy football as the lead back for the Chargers. And he needs to be on the field more than Brian Robinson, who's fading. I think just the small injuries, nicks and bumps, maybe piling up. And then Terry McLaurin. But the problem is, Cliff Kingsbury does not strike you as the kind of coach that's going to pull some things out,
Draw it up.
because the usage of McLaurin is very predictable. And we're going to see more Alameda Zacchaeus or De'Ami Brown, Jaden Daniels. But the other thing too, this game was 37-20 to open the season. These teams played in week 1, and I was like, okay, well, it's going to be a long road for Washington, but they've got a quarterback now. But Todd Bowles is going to test you. So we're talking about Vance Joseph. We're talking about Vic Fangio. We're talking about some defensive coordinators. Todd Bowles is going to say, okay, rookie, pop quiz, right? We'll see. So Jaden Daniels, can he do it? Because normally we'd say like a quarterback can't do it all himself, but Jaden Daniels has been doing it, and he's going to be having to do it against a team. A lot of players have a ring. Baker Mayfield is playing outstanding football. Liam Cohen is drawing up incredible offenses. Everyone's getting healthy on the defensive side, or the important players are. So like you said, Cease, don't undersell this Tampa team's chance to end up down here in New Orleans in a month.
Their X factor is Bucky Irvin.
Sure.
We get to see Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans again,
Ding,
which would be
ding.
outstanding in the postseason. But it's Baker, man. This team is so dangerous. People don't even know because we spend too much time talking about the Vikings or the Lions, with deserving credit.
Right.
Never sleep on Baker and these Bucks.
Yeah. And this is a team that, again, okay, if they win this game, they're going to play Philadelphia. They smoked Philadelphia in the playoffs last year. Okay. If they end up playing Detroit, they played Detroit straight up in the playoffs last year. And this is an experienced team. And you have, like you said, Bucky Irving. You're adding in Jalen McMillan now. Kate Otten could be back for this game. This team is peaking right now. They're coming together at the right time on offense, and they have that bravado. Really, I think if they slip up in this game, it's going to be Baker Mayfield mistakes. Baker Mayfield has taken that extra step, but how has he done it? He's playing at the edge of his abilities, like all the great quarterbacks do, and he could make a mistake or two and then start to get not necessarily rattled, but press a little bit more. And that's the other side of this. It's like Dan Quinn. We don't associate Dan Quinn defenses with playoff success. We don't think Dan Quinn, what's he going to have up his sleeve? And Washington's defense isn't there yet. When you look at the personnel, they're not there yet. So they're going to need some breaks, because this Tampa Bay offense is very dangerous. Also, from a fantasy standpoint, this is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. 57
Should
points
be.
in the
Yep.
first matchup. Expect 57 or more in this one.
Okay, final game we're going to talk about Monday. And we got to talk about the Vikings because we didn't recap the Vikings Lions.
Mhm.
Dude.
Unmasked.
Dude. Dude, come on. Come on. You can't live Sam Darnold on your shoulders for him
Right.
to take a dump on your head.
Right. See, it's the Scooby-Doo thing where you pull off the mask, but it's like Sam Darnold Vikings, and you pull off the mask, Sam Darnold Jets. It was you all along.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And the Rams, I feel about the Rams the way I feel about the Buccaneers, the way I feel about the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want these guys in the tournament.
Yeah.
You don't want them in the tournament. So you dumb bastards.
Yeah.
The Rams, whew, that's not, and by the way, I think there is a contingency plan, right? Because
Mhm.
this game's supposed to be in LA. And
Yeah.
please,
Oh my gosh.
all
If
of our
anybody
prayers.
everybody
I was doing a Zoom call at 1 a.m. with my writing partner Mark, who lives in Hollywood. And he had 3 fires around him.
Yeah.
Hadn't yet been called to evacuate, but it's like, dude, we're sending all of our everything, good energy, positive vibes, prayers, send it all to our friends in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Precarity. Um, it's there. It's always there, but sometimes it's more present than others. And we have football as a distraction. Maybe Sam Darnold needs a distraction. Again, Aaron Glenn, he will be a head coach in a month, right? He'll definitely be a head coach, as he just showed everybody, like, this is what you do. This is what you do. You force Sam Darnold. You can rattle him. You can get him in an emotional, panicky kind of thinking pattern. And the thing is, there were some plays early on in that game that if Sam Darnold had hit those plays, we might be having a different conversation today. But you know that, again, looking at experience, and Kevin O'Connell is not necessarily somebody that you think is going to get outcoached or pantsed, but Sean McVay's been there, done that. And you look at the matchup of Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford, and I mean, do we even need to do more to preview this game? We'll see, because you got Justin Jefferson, and also Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor. TJ Hawkinson hasn't really had that much of an effect on games lately. Maybe he's saving it for this, but you do have some players that can make plays downfield in the passing game for the Vikings, and you need Sam Darnold to stay confident. You need him to stay protected. The guards, every Vikings person I know, like, can we get some guards? Can we just get some interior blocking in the running game? Because that's not going to be a factor here. And we'll see. So, and see, this may be a game that determines, do you tag Darnold? Do you tag and trade Darnold? Or does he keep the long-term extension on the table with an impressive win here? Which at this point, even though this team was going into week 18, potentially home field advantage, number 1 seed, now we're saying they'll be lucky to win on the road.
Mm. Rams, man. Rams, if they're healthy, they can do whatever they like, including go to the Super Bowl and win it.
Yes, absolutely. It's McVay and Stafford and Jared Verse, defense too. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. You know, again, this defense has come along without Aaron Donald, but it's just execution. Now you also have on the other side Brian Flores. Real interesting stuff, by the way. Ryan Fitzpatrick talking about Brian Flores, and this is always the conversation. It hasn't gone well for, say, someone like Josh McDaniels. It went better for someone like Bill Belichick. What did you learn in your first stint? And just look up the comments. Brian Fitzpatrick is what a joy to have Brian Fitzpatrick now in our football conversation, being very frank about Brian Flores and what went well, what didn't go well. But Brian Flores is going to have to come up with something. And Matthew Stafford, much like a Joe Burrow, that you can't be passive against him. But if you're aggressive, you can dig your own grave. So good luck. Good luck.
Right.
And you've got in Puka Nacua. Oh, can we just take a step back? It's breathtaking where
Ah.
his game, because it's just like Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was incredible as a rookie, and then he took it another step up as a second-year player. And Puka Nacua has done that, but because he was hurt for part of the year, and necessarily in fantasy football circles, it's getting the attention, not necessarily NFL circles. Yeah, you're going to see a big Puka Nacua game, and we will see this probably be, now what Minnesota does have going for them is a good run defense. Their linebackers are healthy. Ivan Pace and Blake Cashman. So yeah, still got baseball in the mind. It's going to come down to, can the Vikings somehow make some plays. Harrison Smith and Byron Murphy and these guys make some plays against a team that, like you said, sees they have what it takes to go all the way. They played the Lions to overtime in week 1. They beat the Vikings 30-20 in the game that announced don't put dirt on their grave yet. Don't put Cooper Kupp on another team yet. They were 2-4, but they had just beaten the Raiders. They started 1-4. They just beaten the Raiders. Who cares? And they had to face a really good Vikings team, and they beat them, and they beat them decisively. So, again, good luck, Vikings. Now, for Vikings fans, you might say, please just put us out of the playoffs so that we can go forward with J.J. McCarthy and get over this Sam Darnold thing. Because as we saw in Week 18, he does have flaws.
That is a wrap for our wild card preview. Off-season schedule abounds, so we'll be in here with some news shows. We'll be in here some preview shows.
Yeah.
Make sure to stick with us here on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. And we appreciate you. Follow Sigmund on all the socials at Sigmund Bloom. I'm at Cecil Lammey. The show is at The Audible, saying thanks for watching. Watch these other videos if they happen to pop up around our heads yet. Stay tuned and stay frosty.